Hello and welcome to Pro Trader Strategies Market Commentary for Thursday, August the 6th. I'm Eric Wilkinson, and yes, you very well may recognize me from mainstream media where I've talked about the economic data, the geopolitical environment, and how that all impacts the overall markets with my market analysis. And I do the same thing in these daily market commentaries, but I go a little bit further and layer on some option strategies I find on a daily basis to implement into my portfolio based on those assumptions I come up with from all of those market analysis and whether or not I have a bullish or bearish assumption. In the webinars, though, that I teach how to come up with the right strategy for that option or for that directional assumption you very well may come up with to increase your probabilities of success. Anybody can come up with an assumption. I hope that you guys do that on your own, but take what I'm teaching in these option strategies, following the guidelines in order to find the right strategy. Also, I go a bit further and go into the nitty-gritty, talk about the right strike locations to increase your probabilities of success. So please check those out. As a matter of fact, today we are doing one on the poor man's covered put. If you are overall long in your portfolio, there's always a bearish market out there somewhere that we're going to look to take advantage of with this. That will create a nice little hedge for our portfolio in case there's a bit of a downturn or, that market starts going down. You can take advantage of that. A lot easier than going out there and shorting stock. Everybody talks about just shorting stock. Well, that's a real pain in the rear end as far as I'm concerned. You got to pay dividends, maintenance costs, all of that stuff. Well, we're going to talk about today in this poor man's covered put, how you can avoid all of that headache. So please check that out. Go to protraderstrategies.com and sign up for that. All right, well, let's get on with the overall economic data across the pond. We got some more construction PMI out of Great Britain coming in at 58, expected to be 57. So these PMI numbers, Purchasing Managers Index numbers, are coming out much better, even across the pond, as well as here in the United States. Now, this week is the first week of the month. First Friday of the month, we get non-farm payrolls. This week has been packed full of different unemployment data. We also today got unemployment claims here in the United States, 1,186,000, expected to be 1,410,000. So on to the overall markets. Actually, we got one other thing. We got the natural gas storages coming in at 33 billion cubic feet, expected to be 31 billion cubic feet. So a little bit higher, a little bit of a build there. And that's probably due to maybe us seeing crude oil here above 40. We're starting to see some of those frackers start to ramp up production. They're still not making money, but they are probably doing this on the hopes that the economy is starting to turn around and there's going to be some demand for crude oil. That's something to keep an eye on. And something else to keep, one thing I wanted to talk about, something to keep an eye on, which is what reminded me, is the offshore drilling. We need to start watching how these drillers are going to start reacting to crude oil starting to come back into the 40 handle. Well, something to note, I just saw that the NOAA, National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, or whatever, I think something like that. Anyway, they're predicting that this year is going to be the one of the bigger seasons for hurricanes. They just released that today. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. All right, so anyway, predicting more hurricanes. Yes, 2020 just keeps on throwing as many punches as it can. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. That could really limit this offshore drilling, and that will drive the frackers to start producing. It also could limit some of that supply coming onto the market, especially here in the United States. All right, so gold. Oh my gosh, we don't have gold up. We don't have gold right here. This is the bonds. They are in positive territory. On any given moment, we have a mixed bag in the equities. Bonds right there where we've talked about resistance, overhead resistance, 183. We're just slightly below that, but we keep testing that. I don't really think that we can sustain above 183 for very long. I think interest rates are right about where they're going to be. They might do some quantitative easing. We're also looking at another round. Does not seem like government can come up with a a deal for the next round of stimulus, but it looks like it's imminent. So keep your eyes out for that. There's also talk that the government's going to kind of support these airlines, and that's good for the airlines. It's hard to short those. I was actually starting to look at reshorting this because I really think that people are going to start road tripping. This is what I wanted to talk about. Gold futures up $24 almost on the day. A new all-time high was created during the day session, so this is a clean high print. We're also seeing weakness in the dollar. As a matter of fact, it was testing that low again that I talked about yesterday, and I don't know if it actually broke through. I don't keep a real tight eye on that, but expectations of a weaker dollar is probably due to the fact that we're going to see another round of stimulus. They're trying to debate on how big that stimulus package is. The bigger the stimulus package is, the weaker the dollar will be, which gives more strength to gold. So if you're a gold bug or holding gold bullion, you are a very happy person today. All right, VIX is unchanged for the most part, but we do have a mixed bag. I think, it could probably prove me wrong here in a moment, but we do have the NASDAQ up 69 points on the day. This is the Dow Jones up 66 points on the day. Yeah, NASDAQ looking at new all-time highs here. But right around the point of control, looks like we're building up a volume node right here at 26,700, or we can call it almost 2,700. 26.9. I would expect this volume node to pop very shortly. It looks like that is the new volume node that I'm not sure why my thing is not moved higher. That means price acceptance higher. That means that it is very bullish. We also have the, I believe it's called, it's been so long since I studied all of some of the markets or whatever, but I believe this is called the Golden Cross that we're looking at right there. Let me redraw that. May not redraw that. Markets, or the pen tab is giving me fits. All right, let me redraw this. All right, give it a second to load up. There we go, right there, the crossover that we're seeing. This is the 50-day simple moving average, and once it crosses over the 200-day moving average like that, that is a very bullish sign as well. That means market's moving higher. Yes, it is a lagging indicator as far as I'm concerned, but that will give a lot of momentum to the upside. Price accepting higher, golden cross happening, markets getting another boost of stimulus. It's hard to fade the Fed at this point in time, you guys. I'm not going to try and stand in front of this freight train. I'm going to pretty much stay mostly bullish or delta positive in my portfolio. So I am looking for some opportunities out there in order to add some negative deltas, which I think is very prudent for anyone to do. There's always a bear market out there. We're going to try and find something for today's webinar in the Poor Man's Covered Put. So check that out. NASDAQ up 66 points on the day as well. As you can see, this is a new all-time high, and we are like literally just 5 ticks away from that. Print is inside of today's daily open market range, so that is a good print as well. Now, E-mini S&P is peeling out above this value area high. Something to note, it's getting a little bit wanky here. We've got several volume nodes, and these volume nodes are these two are basically lockstep. You can see the volume node being a little bit further out on this E-mini S&Ps, but I'm expecting this at least to move a little bit higher, right up there to the 3250 area, and that would be price acceptance higher. That means our value areas where we are outside of the value area high right here, which is these lines in the sand right there. That move higher to this area should give us another move higher in the value area as volume and price being accepted higher. So we're going to start watching that. I've talked about E-mini S&Ps, I think, are going to start catching up to the NASDAQ as well as the Dow as the reopening trade starts happening. We're going to have to watch that. A lot of kids staying home, so that's going to limit some of our economic growth. Kids going back to school really stimulates will help stimulate the growth coming out of this, because right now with kids at home, people are having to jockey with their job situation with kids at home, especially younger kids, how difficult that must be for them. But E-mini S&P is moving higher on the day. They were the ones that were kind of in negative territory a little bit ago. As you can see here on the chart, overnight started trading lower just for really nothing other than probably some profit taking, and now we're starting to get that move higher. Keep an eye on the end of the day. We're seeing some real strength heading into the end of the days. Today might be a little bit of a different situation with non-farm payroll coming out tomorrow. We might see a lot of people trying to book some profits here as that becomes imminent, and it happens before the markets are going to be open on the East Coast for the equities. All right, PENN National, new all-time high, just blasting it off the top. Something to note here with PENN. They did beat on earnings. Yes, it is in negative, but they were expecting much more negative numbers there. One of the things is Barstool Sports is really helping these guys out. And Barstool Sports just came out with a brand new betting app, which is going to help their bottom line there. They are not a public company. If you want to get involved with El Presidente or David Portnoy, Barstool Sports, this is where you have to do that, because they have a major stake in that company. Today they were really blasting off. Everybody on Twitter was talking about it. If you guys remember, I got in on this day right here on 318 when it hit the lows. I bought it at $4.49. I tweeted it out today. This continues. It will probably go down as one of my best scoops of all time, not only for price, but when it broke below $5, you guys maybe who are newer, when it broke below $5, I said all of these hedge funds have to start puking out this stock, despite the fact that they might be still bullish on it. There's a basic mandate that they can't hold on to it below $5, so that's when I came in to scoop. So literally I bought it on the day it made the lows there at 375, and has done nothing really but rally since then. I've tried to sell some calls against it around 45 a while back, but it never came to fruition, especially right when they had that super high volatility. Just never really worked out to do covered calls, and thankfully so, because now we're starting to see that 45 handle come into fruition. But having said that, I'm still staying long this. I'm not looking to cover it necessarily. It's in my IRA, so it's something I'm going to probably hold on to for a very long time. So just a win. I'm bragging, I know, braggalicious, whatever it is. I got to talk about it. That is one of the all-time scoops for me and for anybody who bought a stock that low. It's up, 1,000%, 10 times what I paid for it. All right. Marathon Oil is also in my holdings, and they are seeing some weakness today, despite the fact that they came out with better than expected earnings, albeit only slightly, and it's right at the point of control. The volume up here, the time node is way up here, but you can see there wasn't really price ever accepted at that level. Here we're seeing that volume node pretty solid. That is a magnet that's going to hold on to this. I don't know how much longer I'm going to hold on to Marathon Oil on the hopes of the reopening trade and this stock making a move. It's just really right in and around where I bought it at. They do pay a dividend and stuff like that, but I need to find something that is going to actually perform. And this one's not doing it for me right now. So I am looking for other opportunities to replace in my portfolio the Marathon Oil. All right, so that's about it. That's all I got for you guys today. Check out today's webinar. Like I said, it's on the Poor Man's Covered Put. We're going to be talking about all the nuances, the strike locations, all of those things that you need to know before entering a trade like the Poor Man's Covered Put. We'll talk about the risks as well. So keep your eye out for that. One other, and yes, we do need to talk about this. It is going to be our site disclaimer. And everything we talk about in this is for educational purposes. Take a moment to go over this. There are risks involved in trading, so please take a moment to read over that. Check out the webinar also, protraderstrategies.com. If you can't take that, take it easy.